Hey, folks, welcome to another edition of Pittsburgh Postgame. Alan Saunders joined by Dan Kingerski of Pittsburgh Hockey Now as the Penguins 3-1 losers after an empty net goal in New York. Back-to-back losses for the Pens. And,
Postgame, Alan Saunders.
It's been a struggle for them. I think the power play was clearly the thing that was the most obvious struggle tonight. 0 for 6 with the man advantage, and that's a lengthy 0 for stretch now for that unit. Dan, is that obviously the big top line takeaway from this one?
You know, Todd Reardon was such a prized get in the offseason, and you can bake a pie any way you want, but if you're using rotten apples, it doesn't matter what you're doing. And quite frankly, watching Evgeny Malkin boot a few pucks early in the game, I thought he looked okay, better on. There's a guy in Florida who is such a missing piece of the power play that you don't realize quite what you have until it's gone, do you? Jake Gensel goes to the net. He's kind of waving a stick at it. Brian Rust is doing the same thing. There's no one creating havoc. There's no one taking defenders away from the puck, Alan. And I think until Todd Reardon solves that big issue, they can have all of the pretty Princeton give and goes at the top of the zone. They can work, around the corners and nibble at the edges all they want. But until they get it right and get some chaos in the scoring zones, they're gonna have a really rough time.
I think the Rangers kind of showed them the way. They get the tip-in goal for the go-ahead goal, and I think it's pretty emblematic of what the Penguins aren't doing right now. Is that the Penguins have a lot of skilled players. I think that those skilled players are right to want to do pretty things on the power play. That's you don't get paid $8 or $9 million to just blast shots at the net, right? I mean, those guys are being paid to do fancy things that other people can't do. But I think there needs to be an awareness of when things aren't working that you have to simplify them. And I haven't seen that awareness from the Penguin Stars on the man advantage so far. Or really, and I think that goes to their 5-on-5 play at times as well. It's not like it only happens when they're on the power play.
What was your question again?
Well, do they have to? Where does that awareness come from? I mean, you talked about Todd Reardon. I don't think that can be to me, that has to come from the players.
Yes and no. Yes, they have to get the puck on the net. Yes, they have to take more shots. Yes, they have to do those simple things, right? Unfortunately, whether it's Shesterkin, Samsonov, or Vitek in Washington, Tuukka Rask or Yaroslav Halak, the goalies have seen the puck as well. There's not a pair of pants in the goalie mask, and that's contributing to the problem because the opposing penalty kill doesn't have to collapse to clear space. They don't have to fight for those pucks in the scoring zones either. And so I think it's a give and take with the Penguin Stars passing up shots because they don't feel like it's a prime scoring chance. They feel like the goalie can see them, they can see the goalie, and it would be a save. Maybe they have to start firing a few biscuits into the skates and see what comes.
Well, obviously, the big story coming into this game was the Penguins' extremely depleted defensive core. I thought they actually acquitted themselves fairly well in this one. What was your take on the way the substitute defense with P.O. Joseph playing nearly half the game and guys like Churchman and Yannick Weber, more than I think that ever thought they'd see the ice at this point in the season, certainly. How did you think the defense held up?
Yeah, I mean, look, they were just fine. Obviously, the coaches don't trust their third pairing so much, and not even so much their second pairing with Chad Ruedel on his offhand. Obviously, you saw a couple penalties tonight, and those sorts of things happen when the game's at a different angle. Yannick Weber talked about the other day, while downplaying it, and all the defensemen downplay playing on their backhand, but I mean, it's a huge thing. I don't think Ruedel had his best game tonight. Obviously, what did he have, 2 or 3 penalties, and could have had a couple more. He just, playing on his backhand, he's limited to begin with, and so he was even further limited. The Penguins really need to find a lefty. They just really need to find a lefty who can play in the NHL ASAP, so that this cluster doesn't continue. The forwards did a good job, Alan, I thought, coming back into their own zone. You saw Sidney Crosby play end wall to end wall. And even Evgeny Malkin came back below the hash marks quite a bit, and Jankowski and Bluger do so anyway. I thought the Penguins had breakouts. I thought the Penguins played, but maybe not played quite tough enough in the scoring zones. They let New York dictate where they played with the puck a bit too often.
Yeah, I thought they had possession at a relatively.
We're gonna have John Marino and Casey DeSmith up first.
Hey, Alan, I've got to run. I've got the press conference here. I'll come right back to you.
Sounds good. Sounds good. If you're in the YouTube chat, give me a topic, and we'll answer some questions here. And let's see, do we have any yet? Not yet, but go ahead and fire those away, and I'll get to those. Another thing I wanted to talk about, Churchman. He lost his guy there on the first New York goal where Rooney scored, and those are the kind of things that you're going to have happen when you have these fill-in defensive players that you can't structure around. It was an extended shift in the defensive zone. The puck went back out to the point a couple times. There's no amount of help that can minimize that. It's just now the guy's got to play one-on-one against his guy. And he didn't do a very good job of it. But I thought Dan's point was really good. I thought the Penguins played a really nice end-to-end game from their forwards. I thought they transitioned well. They connected defense to offense. I think 5-on-5, you could argue the Penguins had the better run of play in this game. Certainly were right there with the Rangers. They outshot the Rangers. But the power play is brutal. And this is a team that has too much talent to be that bad on the power play. I don't know what the answer is, but it certainly can't continue. 0-for-6. Just the fact that they drew 6 penalties shows that they were doing some good things at 5-on-5. But that's just it can't happen, and they get out goaltended again. I know that's been something that's been going on all season. I don't really think Casey DeSmith played a terrible game, but like Dan said, whichever the opposing goaltender is, seems to be able to see shots, and Shesterkin just was better tonight, a little bit, 1 goal better anyway, and that's kind of the way things go when you don't take advantage of those special teams opportunities and you give up special teams opportunities. It doesn't matter, and you get slightly worse goaltending. It doesn't matter if you have the better run of play, you're going to lose. And that's what happened to the Penguins tonight. 3-1 losers, empty net goal just before the buzzer. So for all intents and purposes, a 2-1 game, but not a pretty picture. And the Penguins will have a long time to think about this, as their 2 upcoming games against the New Jersey Devils have been postponed. The Devils with a positive COVID test. And so they actually got to Pittsburgh. That game was scheduled for Tuesday night, is now off. And so the Penguins will have some time to regroup, hopefully some time to get some bodies back on defense. And we'll hear from Dan again after he speaks with maybe Mike Sullivan to let us know what's going on there. But so supposed to be a game tomorrow night, supposed to be a game Thursday night against the Devils. Both of those are off. The Penguins now back in action Saturday at the New York Islanders. And then Tuesday, the 9th, supposed to be at the Devils. I guess we'll see if New Jersey is able to play by then. So it could be a significant period of time off here. It could be great for the Penguins timing-wise, just given the number of bodies that they're missing on defense. I know Mike Matheson has started to skate. Chris Letang, it didn't seem like his absence was expected to be a significant one when he was announced as out for tonight. So obviously he would be huge to get back in action as well. Do we have any chats yet? No, nothing. Let's fire away on Twitter too. And of course, the other, the non-game related topic du jour is the Penguins reverse retro jerseys, which I'm not a big fan of. I don't like the diagonal Rangers cosplay, as I like to call it, look for the Penguins. I don't think dressing up like your division rival is ever a good idea. And it seemed like the reaction to these ones were pretty mixed. Anyway, people generally like the black version of this uniform that was worn back in the 90s. I thought the white one looked pretty bland on television. The pictures that you saw from the photographers shared from the game, the colors did pop a little bit, but I think on TV it's just a lot of white and black and tends to get washed out. And besides my aversion to looking like the Rangers ever, I don't think it's a particularly good look for the team. But let me know what you thought of those reverse retros, and I guess we'll see some more of those this season, along with some of the other teams are really good. I saw the Wild the other day with that green and gold. I thought it looked awesome, but not the washed out black and white. I think what's so good about the Penguins uniforms generally is that those colors pop so nicely, and they are able to I think the black and gold is bright and it's vibrant, and that's what made such a big difference when they went away from the Vegas gold khaki color to what they have now. And I think when you go almost all white like these ones are, you kind of lose that effect. And so we'll be waiting for Dan to get back. He's got the post-game press conference duties. Let's break this one down. I mean, I really thought that, if I look here at the advanced stats here, 56% Corsi for the Pens, 54% Fenwick, that they outchanced them, obviously, the high danger scoring chances in favor of the Penguins, as are the expected goals. I mean, that's the kind of performance you're looking for, I think, from this team at even strength, especially considering who they're playing on defense. I mean, P.O. Joseph has been quite the, I don't know if it's been a total surprise, but he's been, a prospect that they thought they liked. It was pretty good coming up. But I'm not sure anybody thought he was capable of doing this so quickly. Joseph was phenomenal tonight. Played half the game. Time on ice for the Penguins defense breaks down like this: Marino 30 minutes and 30 seconds, Joseph 26-14, nobody else more than 15 minutes, which was Ruhledl, 14 for Ceci, and 10 each for Churchman and Yannick Weber. So clearly Joseph and Marino, I mean, I think everybody expects Marino to be the kind of the number one guy now, without a Brian Dumoulin or a Crystal Tang or a Pedersen or anybody with any semblance of meaningful, lengthy NHL experience on that blue line. Marino is pretty much the obvious choice there. But after that, man, P.O. Joseph has been phenomenal. He had 4 shots on goal, 2 blocks in this one as well. Played both power play and shorthanded. For a rookie, that's not generally done. That's not generally done for most defensemen until they get to, a very established place in their career. And even then, it requires a fairly unique skill set to do that. Even for guys that have been around a long time, you don't see a lot of defensemen that play both the power play and the penalty kill. P.O. Joseph doing that tonight. 4 minutes of power play time, second only to Marino. 2:21 of shorthanded time. That was 4th on the team. Kind of crazy to think that he'd still be in Wilkes-Barre if everybody was healthy on this defense right now. And I can't imagine him going back after the kind of performance he's put up. And obviously a small sample size. And I'm sure that he will go through some struggles, as most young players do. And especially, I think, young defensive players have those struggles. But man, what an outstanding start to his career here in Pittsburgh, and really a shame that the team is going through such a struggle. At the same time, you'd like to see a rookie be able to come in, much like Marino did, and have those sheltered minutes and that nice, neat little role where he can grow and be comfortable and have good feelings about the way he's playing. And no, it's straight into the fire for Joseph, and man, He's done a phenomenal job now in just his 6th NHL game. He's already got 4 points. I thought he probably could have another one today. We do have a question from Twitter that we'll get to. Agent Zero wants to know, was this on the same Rangers power play in the third period where the guy scored standing at the net and no one was within 15 feet of him? Yeah, I mean, no, that was he's talking about the Churchman play on, against Rooney. But yeah, the front of the net is probably an issue for the Penguins defense. If we had to look at maybe a heat map or so of where those Rangers scoring chances did come from, I did feel like they had probably more than you'd like to see right on top of Casey DeSmith. Comparatively, I feel like a lot of the Penguins' chances came from farther outside, and I, but I'm not going to quibble about the way that defense played, given the personnel. Yeah, I mean, I thought Churchman made a poor play on the Rooney goal. I thought the power play goal certainly was avoidable, but man, you give up 2 goals. You only give up what was it, about 23 shots on goal. Playing with a guy you just got and Yannick Weber, Churchman, who probably started the season 9th on the depth chart. Yeah, I mean, I think that defensive performance was perfectly good enough for the Penguins to win this game. And the Penguins' top players, they're not performing. I mean, if we look up and down this roster, I mean, I thought Jason Zucker had a very nice goal. I thought he had a great game. To me, the Penguins' 3 best players on offense right now are Zucker, Kapanen, and Brandon Tanev. And not to take anything away from those 3 guys, but they ain't the ones it should be. Evgeny Malkin's play has been poor for his standards, especially. It hasn't even been good for the standard of just a generic second-line center at this point. I think Tanev's been better for most of the season, and this is a carryover from the end of last season, and so I think that's certainly not going to be able to continue if the Penguins are going to turn this thing around. We've got Dan back from press conference land. Dan, what can we say about the way the Penguins feel about this one? 3-1 losers again on Pittsburgh Sports Live. Alan Saunders will be joined briefly as soon as we get connections here by Dan Kingerski of Pittsburgh Hockey Now, covers the team extensively and has tons of coverage over there at PHN tonight. There's Dan, and how's the mood from the Penguins locker room after this one?
It's I don't know if I should say surprisingly upbeat, but I think they feel like they did a lot of good things. The special teams are a point of frustration. Jason Zucker, quoting here, said, "Well, the obvious answer is we need to shoot more." but he also kind of I hope he didn't take my question in a defensive sort of manner. He's like, well, it's easy from the bench watching the first power play unit to say shoot the puck more, but the other teams are adjusting to what they're doing. They have to make changes, et cetera, et cetera. But I think they feel like they outplayed the Rangers for most of the 60 minutes, but they squandered the power play chances so greatly that they lost.
Yeah, that's what I was mentioning while you were out, is that they outshoot them, they outscoring chance them, and the difference is you get slightly better goaltending from the Rangers and the special teams advantage. Just the fact that they got 6 power plays, I think, shows that they're doing a good amount of work at even strength to get those opportunities. Can you make personnel changes to this power play unit? Are there different guys that you can put in there, or does it have to come from the ones that are in that first unit, as Jason Zucker's talking about?
Well, I actually think Zucker should be on the first power play unit. I think if there's one guy who can get his butt in the goalie's face, it's Zucker. I mean, boy, you don't say that phrase very often, do you? But I think he might be a little better with a better mesh with that top power play unit than Jake Gensel. Look, Gensel is a sniper without a bomb of a shot. Gensel is a cerebral goal scorer. And in that, I don't think you need a genius on the power play. You need a bit more brawn without Patrick Hornquist doing what he does. So I think Zucker could be that guy, and I'd like to see it. Clearly, he has the speed, so if he needs to be part of the rush up ice, he could do that. And he's got the IQ to do it too. He's not a crash bang kind of dumb guy. He's got some offensive instinct. So I think if you ask that question, that's where I would start.
Yeah, and I think especially without Chris Letang, it did not seem like they were a significant threat to score on the rush on the power play. And that is where Gensel is really, really good. So if you're not going to score on the rush or even really threaten to score on the rush, if you're going to, kind of take things slowly, zone to zone, maybe Gensel is even less useful than he usually is without a Chris Letang. Zucker, clearly capable of being a guy I think that could contribute in that role. I'm sure he's done it in the past as well. I'm going to give his old hockey reference page a look here, but I'm pretty sure he's got some power play goals in the bin. Yeah, he scored 7 actually 3 seasons in a row on the power play from 17 to 19 and had 7 between Pittsburgh and Minnesota in 1920. So yeah, I mean he can do it. I thought given that that's not his primary role, I did not think that John Marino was a big part of the problem here tonight on the power play. How did you take his fill-in duty for Chris Letang on that top unit?
Yeah, it's kind of a bit vanilla, isn't it? He didn't make the big mistakes that he made the other night when he, made some poor pinches with nobody behind him. He kept it simple, he kept it clean, but by the same token, when you get 5 shots and 5 chances, now what they had a couple or a few or a handful on their 6th chance, but let's not overlook the first 5, which were pretty bad. You do look at the top of the umbrella, right? You look at Malkin and you look at Marino. Could they improve? Yes, probably. I don't know. Maybe you see Yannick Weber at the top. I don't know. He did it in Vancouver, right? Like Sullivan noted a couple of days ago. I don't know. It's interesting. Well, they don't actually. Looking ahead to their power play, Alan, they play the Islanders on Saturday. Presuming the NHL doesn't find a game for them between now and then.
I think the Pens are going to call off any attempt at that, right? They don't want any games right now.
I don't know. It'd be kind of funny if you're the college football guy. Was like this year, like a 3 days notice 2 teams played.
BYU and Coastal Carolina played on about 3. It was like Wednesday to Saturday. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, it's interesting how the different coaches of the East Division, brought to you by Mass Mutual, how the different coaches who have been around defend the Penguins' power play. Alain Vigneault loves to pressure them, bust up the breakout, and in response, the Penguins have had some success, very streaky. They'll put 2 or 3 on the board pretty quick. Barry Trotz, on the other hand, with the Islanders, who they play Saturday, which is where I was going with this originally, loves to stack the blue line. You'll see sometimes a 4-man wall at the blue or a 3-1 very quick. So they'll let the Penguins, come flying up the ice and then confront them at the blue line, which I think has seemed to give the Penguins a lot more fits than the pressure. So they will have to learn to set up, get shots, get traffic, get chaos between now and Saturday, because that's how the Islanders are going to defend them.
Well, I hopefully they will have a more representative team by Saturday. It doesn't seem like Chris Letang's issue is a significantly long-term one. Are there opportunities for some of these other guys to get back in the lineup if they do get this week off?
It's a good question. I'll drop a little scoop on you. It's take it with a grain of salt. Zach Aston Reese is probably a week away, maybe a little sooner. He's right there. He's within a week. Sources tell us here at Pittsburgh Hockey Now. Letang, I have to specify here that I'm speculating. I don't think it's a good sign that he's still being evaluated 2 days later. That could mean absolutely nothing, right? Or that could mean, it's something to watch. Matheson has been skating, although I think Matheson has a lot of work to do on his game. So if you're looking at him to save the Penguins' blue line, maybe you should look elsewhere for the time being.
He can hold the stick in the left-handed direction, though. And right now, I think that's a significant skill that they're lacking.
Yeah, that's true. That would put Chad Ruedel back on the right side of the third pairing. And Cody Ceci, I presume, without Letang, would take the second pair, right side, with who would he take it with? I can't even think. Who else? Who would be the second left-hander? I guess Matheson and Ruedel might be the second pair. Good Lord. Anyway, talk about scrambled eggs and ham. So, yeah, the coaching staff with the Penguins, they must go home at night and call each other and just throw defensemen in a Yahtzee cup and throw them out and see and just start playing with pairings. Not because they're bad at it, because just these injuries just keep biting. I've never seen a team be without 5 or 6 defensemen at the same time, which the Penguins are.
Yeah, I mean, when they get down to Churchman and then they have to go get Yannick Weber on top of that.
They called up Will Riley today from the practice squad at about 4:30, 5 o'clock as the New Jersey stuff was breaking. So the news was way under the radar. And my question to Shelley Anderson, we had a little quick text conversation. Shelley, when did they call Will Riley to the practice squad? I honestly couldn't find that news. So somewhere, he was on the practice squad for 15 minutes, but now Will Riley was part of the NHL roster tonight.
Will Riley, who has never played in an AHL game, we should point out.
Yeah, he played at RPI. I guess he had a little bit of success up there, but that's a hell of a leap for a kid. No AHL training camp or maybe a couple days of such, and now he's, he could have been pressed into service tonight. It's extraordinary. They've played 11 defensemen this season, and boy, they might need 12 before Saturday.
So the way this season started, they lose those 2 games in Philadelphia, and then they have this kind of weird run where they come back in all these games, and maybe they have, I think at some point there, those things evened out, because I thought they played pretty well against Philly, even though they lost, and then they didn't play very well at all in some of those games that they ended up winning. Does it make it hard now, though, when you just blow up the whole defense, to sort of evaluate their overall play, where they are? It's very easy to sit here and say, well, the power play should be better than it was tonight, but nice round number, 10 games in, does this mixed up defense make it really hard to say, is this team on the right track right now?
Yeah, you really can't judge the defense. What you kind of have to judge are individual effort, not even performance, but effort, really. Are the guys doing everything they can to assist defensemen who didn't make NHL squads, like Yannick Weber, and guys who were supposed to eat press box nachos for most of the season? Chad Ruedel, Pierre-Olivier Joseph. Although silver lining to all of this, of course, is Joseph playing 26 minutes again tonight. And boy, howdy, is that kid fun to watch. He does so many little things that none of the other Penguins defensemen do. Bob Berry mentioned it on the TV broadcast tonight. I wrote about it on Saturday. Is watch Joseph go back on pucks. How fast he gets there and how quickly he turns. He's got his head up. He knows where he's going already, which is impressive. But also watch him run interference for his defense partner. He'll come flying over and get between the forechecker and John Marino or Chad Ruido, whoever else is on the right side for him. And that is just invaluable. That keeps the other team's forechecker from pinning the Penguins defenseman deep. That limits turnovers, that allows the breakouts and the skating. So it's just such a little thing that he does that the other guys don't do. So long live Olivier Joseph's era in the Pittsburgh Penguins sweater, huh?
Well, I mentioned while you were gone, he played all three. He played both power play and shorthanded in his 6th game at 21 years old. There are guys that play their entire NHL career and never play both power play and shorthanded ever, let alone at the same time. And Dan, I know you know this, but maybe for some of the viewers that don't,
I know everything.
When hockey teams practice their special teams, they're practicing against each other. So if you're on the penalty kill, that means you're not practicing the power play. Or if you're practicing with the power play, that means you're not practicing with the penalty kill for the most part. So here's a guy, 6th game, at least one of those phases, limited practice time, and you may know which one he's been practicing with more. I don't know, but that's really impressive to me. And can he go back when they get healthy? I think he's got to stay in the lineup.
Yeah, here's the funny thing, or not so funny, because we called this out at the time of the Matheson trade, was Joseph is coming. Now, look, I did some video scouting. We did some stories on him last season, and then into the pandemic. Mike Vellucci was kind enough to talk to us, and I had a good grade on Joseph, don't get me wrong, but I was maybe putting him a step further back in his development until Vellucci got a hold of me and just raved about the kid and what a character, like how much character he has. And just said unequivocally, if he doesn't have a good game, he's going to figure out why, and he's going to absorb everything he can so he doesn't make the same mistake twice. I will caution that he can't be this good. Let me rephrase that. He probably isn't this good every night. He's got that adrenaline rush. He's just from going into the NHL and then the adrenaline rush of getting dumped onto the top pairing and your team needing you. His adrenal glands are probably pumping out at level 10. That's going to subside. He's going to come back to earth a little bit, and we'll really find out kind of where he's at. But he has so many details to his game that he does well that I would love to see him in the lineup. I enjoy watching him play. The problem is, do you take out Marcus Pettersson? Or do you take out Mike Matheson, whom you are paying $4.8 million the next 5 years beyond this season? So it's a real asset management question. And I know Mike Sullivan will be ripped to shreds if Joseph goes to the press box and Matheson is in there. But it's one of those things, the business of hockey, it might happen.
Of course, it seems the way things are going that any discussion about what happens when the Penguins defense gets healthy is completely premature.
Or insane, yes.
What else you got, Dan, before we run? You got a take on the jerseys. That's the topic du jour on Twitter tonight.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. I thought they looked a little washed out on TV. What did you think of the?
I really like them. Actually, I did not like the sweaters, and the pictures, the launch, and the little video, whatever the NHL did to try to sell a few jerseys. But I like them, and thank you to the Penguins for not going to the mustard yellow helmets with them. That would have been just an abomination.
Yeah, I don't think that would have been a good look.
I hate the yellow helmets with the yellow sweaters. Put the black lids on, for gosh sakes. The mustard bottle thing just doesn't do it for me.
I like the yellow sweaters, but it is a lot of yellow.
That's a lot of yellow there. They should have a little French's patch somewhere. Hey, take the money and run. I think One of the last thoughts is someday we'll actually find out what this team is like. Someday Evgeny Malkin will find his legs in his game, because he's just fighting it tooth and nail right now. Taking a week off sure doesn't help, unless he takes a couple days and just completely unplugs, resets, and comes back with, I don't know, just magically finds it. This team probably won't go very far, maybe not make the playoffs, if Malkin doesn't find it here in the next 5, no more than 10 games.
Well, that's, I think, about it for us. Dan Kingerski, Alan Saunders. Make sure you're checking out all the coverage at Pittsburgh Hockey Now. Dan and Shelley and company over there do a great job with the Pens. We'll be back, I think, Wednesday night. We've got a Pitt basketball game against Virginia Tech, ranked team at the
Will I have to host for you for Pitt basketball?
I mean, I'm not going to hold you to it, but it would be nice.
Well, I have a week off all of a sudden.
Well, no, like, yeah, what are you going to do with your week? What do you have? Like, okay, so what are the chores that get put off during the season that you will catch up on this week with some time off now?
I kid you not. This is not an exaggeration. 6 weeks of laundry will be done tomorrow at the laundromat, because my washer and dryer here are not fully functional. So I'll probably have 4 baskets. I'm going to walk in, thump down 4 washers side by side. I will do that. I'll actually put some of the clothes away this time, instead of living out of the laundry basket, as I have been known to do. I may even take the wrapping off some of my Christmas presents.
There you go. There you go. My bags from the Senior Bowl are right beneath me, right here. They're still, I have not unpacked them yet since I've been back.
What a life we lead, huh?
On Sunday. Good stuff. Dan Kingerski, thank you. And we'll be back later this week. Again, Penguins 3-1 losers to the New York Rangers. And now they've got some time to think about it. Next game for the Pens, Saturday on Long Island. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time on Pittsburgh